I'm Cully Perlman for NovelMasterclass.com. If you're a writer or want to be, please remember to subscribe to our channel for more writing tips and tricks. Just click subscribe down below. Also, please check out the links to our blog and social media pages in the bio section. Thanks. Now, today we're going to talk about dialogue. Dialogue is characters speaking to each other, normally in scene. Dialogue can also be interior dialogue, meaning the character is talking to himself or herself. Either way, dialogue is critical to your novel or short stories. So let's get into the why. So, dialogue. Dialogue advances the plot. We learn what the character wants, what's in the way, and so on. It shows character. It shows who they are, how they behave and comport themselves, and so on. It breaks up long blocks of text to provide readers with some breathing room from all of the exposition and the telling instead of showing. And it's also used to establish the pacing of the novel. Shorter, concise sentences speed the novel up. Now, while we may not be intentionally thinking about each of these things while we write dialogue, there's a good chance it's happening anyway. That's good. We'll make it better later on during the process, but so far you're doing a good job in terms of just getting the dialogue down. So, what makes good dialogue? Well, good dialogue does most or all of what I just spoke of: advancing the plot, showing and developing characters, giving your reader time to catch their breath, breaking up long blocks of text, and establishing the pace of the book. It's compelling. It keeps us interested, and we learn how our characters speak, what their pet words are, if they have an accent or speak in dialect, and it gives life and flavor to the characters we're following. So, here's a passage from The Executioner's Song by Norman Mailer. Spencer said, "Gary, it doesn't make much sense putting your body up to be abused." "They can't hurt me," said Gary. "Oh no? Your eye is cut and it's turning black, and you've got a lump on your forehead and he gave you a good one on the nose. Don't stand there and put that stuff on me, Gary. I just can't believe you keep getting the best of these deals." Gary said, "I sure did, you know." Spencer said, "What's going to happen one night is some little guy about 5'6", which was around Spencer's height, is going to stuff a mud hole right in the middle of your face. Because that's what happens. A guy doesn't have to be 7 foot tall to be mean." "I'm Gary Gilmore," Gilmore said, "and they can't hurt me." Now, you get a lot of information from just that little excerpt of dialogue. And it's important to create that kind of dialogue where you're transferring information to the reader without the reader being told anything, per se. So, when you write dialogue, try to do that. Try to have a normal conversation between two characters where information is passed to each other without explicitly being sent to the reader. And that moves the plot forward. That's what you want to do. You always want to move the plot forward, no matter if it's dialogue, exposition, scene, or whatever. Work on your dialogue. Listen to how people around you talk and what they say. Watch their actions. Do they move their hands? Do they raise their voices? You'll have to modify how your characters speak to take out the ums and ahs of everyday speech. But that's okay. That's part of the process. Just make sure your dialogue is doing what it should. Advancing the plot, building your characters, giving readers a respite from blocks of exposition, and so on. And make sure what they're saying is interesting and compelling. Not every writer is great at dialogue, but they work at it and they improve. And you should too, if you want to keep the reader glued to your book. Now that we know what good dialogue accomplishes and sounds like, let's talk about bad dialogue. Bad dialogue does few or none of the things we've just spoken on. Bad dialogue comes off as untrue or unrealistic, is mundane, doesn't move the plot along, and so on. It's people talking to each other, but they aren't really saying anything worth listening to. An example of bad dialogue might be, "Hi," said Tom. "Hi," said Vicky. "How's the weather?" "Great." "Awesome. So what are your plans for today?" "I may go for a walk." "Wonderful. I love walks." "Me too." And so on. Nothing is happening at this point in time. It may, eventually, but right now we're listening to two characters go back and forth without purpose. Bad dialogue bores readers and does nothing for the book, so cut it from your work. Keep only what's necessary. In conclusion, dialogue, like every other element in fiction, is critical to the enjoyment of your work for your reader. Novels are about people. They aren't about ideas. And people talk. They act. They participate in scenes, and scenes are what keeps people glued to your book. It's about action and the words spoken and how they're spoken by the characters. Work on your dialogue. Listen to how people around you talk and what they say. Watch their actions. Do they move their hands? Do they raise their voices? You'll have to modify how your characters speak to each other and how they take the moments of interaction between each other to provide the information to each other. Remember to take out the ums and the ahs of everyday speech, because we don't talk like that. For NovelMasterClass.com, I'm Cully Perlman. And please remember to like and subscribe to our channel. Thanks, and happy writing.